Okay, cool. So I think we've got 1 minute after. I promise I deliver, right? So thanks for popping on, everybody. Deanne, if your mic is up, if you don't mind giving us a mortgage minute,
Okay.
what's going on in the lending world?
So things are, they got a little crazy last week. We started seeing things bump up in the middle of the week and now they've settled back down. So we really, for jumbo lending, 6.5. For conforming FHA, we're looking at, 7.25 in that range. But I want you guys to think about this. It's when we give you a rate, it's really meaningless without a little bit more information. So things that go into making a determination on interest rate really does require that we have conversation with your client. So a full application, are we talking about financing a single family home? Are we talking about a condominium? Are we talking about owner occupied, investment property, a manufactured home, multifamily? There's so many different factors. And also we look at their credit score. It has a big impact on their, not only their approvability, but also that interest rate. And how long are they going to lock for? So if you get a really slick, I always wished I could be a slick loan officer because, they're a lot of fun, but if you get a slick loan officer, we can quote anything. It really doesn't matter until we know when that loan's going to close. And that's when it's important. So working with someone ethical like Movement Mortgage is going to bode well for you. So thank you, Rochelle, for the minute.
Perfect. Thanks, Deanne.
Thank you. Thanks, Shannon.
Yeah, so today we have an excellent little treat for us today. We've got a representative from Transactly, which is a transaction coordination company that is joining us on this call tonight. And it's really all about transaction management. How can you leverage partners in the industry to really scale your business? And really think about your time. What are you doing day to day? What are you doing when you're under contract to make sure that you're able to deliver for your clients? There's a lot that goes into a transaction. And so having to make sure you've got your team set up properly. And if you don't have a team, leverage a company like Transactly to make sure you've got every aspect of the business covered. So I've got Courtney here from Transactly, who's going to talk a little bit about what a transaction coordinator can do for you. And then we've got plenty of questions. At least I know for me, I will pose several questions after what she's got to share. And then we can kind of go from there and talk about what you can do. So Courtney.
Thank you. So I'm going to share my screen with everyone so that I can quickly, let's see, oh, desktop too. Goodness. It looks like my privacy settings are off. So I'll just quickly go into what a transaction coordinator can do for you with Transactly. We basically, thank you so much. We are here to assist with kind of removing 16 hours from your entire time that it takes to do a transaction. So the main goal of the transaction coordinator is from listing to start with those disclosures, introduce themselves to your clients, get all that information input into MLS so that you don't have to do that. And we'll also assist with, setting up your photography in there, putting any remarks that you might need. And we can also assist with showing time if you do need that. A new cool feature that we just released as well is assisting with flyers. So through the listing phase, we're really removing a lot of hours that you would be putting into your business, doing the paperwork side of thing, which agents, brokers, they don't go into real estate to do paperwork. You're there for people. So we're really there to assist with the paperwork side of thing from listing phase through contract to close, where we will then again go through the contract, make sure that all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, coordinating with the other side to make sure that they do have all of the required paperwork for your brokerage, as well as your statutory requirements, and then inputting all that information into your compliance system so that you're getting paid on time.
Perfect. And so what's a little bit of history about Transactly? If you don't mind kind of giving us the background of the company, where it began, where it's going, what can you kind of tell us in that direction?
Yeah, so with Transactly, I'm actually pretty new to Transactly, but we've been around for about 5 years now. we started off as just a transaction coordination platform, specifically for agents to remove everything from paper to paperless. So really making everything green friendly, making sure that it's right at your fingertips so that you're able to log on and enter all that information if you want to on your mobile phone or if you want to via your computer. So that's kind of the goal of Transactly, is to remove everything from paper to going paperless, and also being transparent with your client as well, since they are able to access the system as well.
Yeah, and I think I will, from what I've able to gather about Transactly, it is relatively new to the Washington space. It is it's been in several states in the United States. So if you're licensed in other states, you may have already encountered them. But they entered at least the Washington space not too long ago. So if you're familiar with the companies like Moncord or TC Solutions, they are out now under this type of umbrella. So, and not an unfamiliar company in that way. You're working with the same people, just under a different name, I think, for a lot of people that may be already here. So why should a real estate agent hire a TC? Why should they hire a transaction coordinator other than with the paperwork and all that?
It's an added layer of support. So I would think of your TC as just an extension of your team. They are there to make you look good to your clients. They're there to answer questions that your clients have if they do need, a document that's signed, if title needs something for their paperwork. They are really there to make sure that you're staying on track of all of your deadlines, just as an added layer of support, providing you with a timeline of all of those important due dates so that you don't have to do all of that paperwork yourself. So I would think of them as just an extension of your team, and just making sure that they're in the loop on anything that you can't get to, but they definitely can. Say you're on the road or something, they can assist with drafting any of those addenda that you might need.
Yeah, and I know at least I can speak from experience on working with a transaction coordinator. I never go a transaction without using a transaction coordinator. And I think for me, it's all about leveraging time. As a salesperson, as a real estate agent, I think it's important to think about how you are using your time and being mindful about what you're spending your time doing. And sometimes, as I think most of us are this way, that sometimes tracking down signatures and tracking down this, that, the other is not necessarily the best use of our time, when we could be spending our time prospecting for other business that can fill our pipeline, especially in a market like we're in right now, where interest rates are a little bit higher than what we've been in the last year or two. And so being equipped with the systems in place and leveraging and trusting that your transaction coordinator can deliver for you, I think is important to scale. Focus on making the phone call with your client rather than focusing about a little detail or a little missing initial, pesky initial here and there. I know I've worked with a transaction coordinator with Transactly, and they are a huge asset, I think, for me, because they're able to take care of all of that stuff. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm able to do and meet with clients when I'm able to if I didn't have someone there to I have one, for instance, where they were missing, and it was an undisclosed on the first page of the purchase and sale. So I think from what you guys have encountered, you're trying to get those addendums, you're trying to figure that out. Well, I've got a transaction coordinator that's following up on that to make sure that we get escrow what they need so that they can actually identify who the seller is in that regard. So focus on what we're good at. We're good at selling homes, and the paperwork can be outsourced in a way like Transactly has done. So what does the communication style look like in terms of what does that look like as a consumer? I know I'm super fussy about how things look like for my clients. I'm very concerned about that. So what does that look like as a transaction coordinator? How does that look?
Yeah, so for our transaction coordinators, communication wise, they do like to initially have a conversation with their broker just to understand what their preferred form of communication is. They are able to respond to texts, phone calls, and emails within 2 business hours. And they do respond within 2 business hours, just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But Primarily, I would say they do like to have everything in writing via email. So if you do need an addenda and you're on the phone with them, you're like, hey, I really need this addendum. They're going to say, great, please shoot me over a text or an email. That way I can have the verbiage exactly how you want it, prepare it, and then get it sent out for signatures.
Yeah, I think they do the introduction. They're handling some of the follow-ups with your clients, keeping them up to date on when timelines are scheduled to expire, keeping you up to date on when timelines are scheduled to expire. I know the inspection timelines, like we're seeing a lot of those in our industry right now, and being mindful about, oh yeah, those are due, you know, have we prepared that addendum yet so that we can ask for the $10,000 off for some sort of repair on inspection. So the TC will help you keep track of those dates in that way so that nothing is missed. And we never want to be in a situation where we've passed the deadline. That would be a scary place to be. So in terms of Best Choice relationship with Transactly, what does that look like for our agents that are licensed with Best Choice?
Yeah. So for agents that are licensed with Best Choice, we've partnered as a business partner with them. And with that, you are an Agent Pro membership, which means that you do get an assigned TC. I know Best Choice currently is working with Beth, so that would be the TC for most agents that sign up. And with that, you get unlimited access to listing and transaction coordination services. You also do get to have me as your success coach in case you do have any questions, feedback, any concerns about just how your account needs to get set up, or questions about maybe what's going on in your transaction. And then with that, there's also a no close guarantee. What that means is that if for whatever reason your file does not close, we do not charge for the services.
Yeah, and I think that is certainly unique to the transaction coordinators we work with is that no close guarantee. I know there's other companies that are out there that will charge you rush fees, or they will charge you add-on fees or listing service fees and all these different things. And they start to add up. So it's kind of nice to have an all-inclusive service in that way, where we're a flat fee brokerage, and you can at least have a flat fee type of pay for what you use model in terms of a transaction coordinator too. So I can certainly appreciate that. So what does that look like in terms of the value? So it sounds like they're going to communicate with our clients. What else are they going to be doing for us? You talked about the paperwork. But what is this pro, if I were to do it on my own at a different brokerage, what is that different?
So with the pro, you also get 5% off of the listing and transaction coordination because you are partnered with us. If you were, say, an individual agent with another brokerage, that would not be the same case. So that's definitely an added benefit because that's a discount on services, which saves you money as well. Not only with the paperwork, though, they are able to assist with, like I had mentioned, sign installation, if you need a lockbox set up, flyers for marketing. We're able to assist with not just transaction paperwork, but also marketing as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I think that's certainly unique too. It's all about leveraging. What can you piece apart in your business and leverage and have other people help you grow your business in that way? Even if you don't use a transaction coordinator, there's other ways that you can leverage other people to help you make money. I know there's other agents that are in our office that have assistants, or they're co-listing with other agents, and thinking about how you can parse apart the process to make sure that you're able to scale what you're doing. If you're thinking about if you're income based in terms of you're trying to hit a certain number of income by the end of the year, what does that look like in terms of your activities? So if you're thinking, okay, well, if I've got someone who's taking this once it goes pending and it kind of babies it to the close, then I can start working on making sure that those prospecting activities on what I'm doing, the people I'm making contact with, that I can spend my time doing that because that's how I'm funneling my business. Do you have some success stories that you can share with us, Courtney, of some people that maybe wouldn't traditionally have used a transaction coordinator, but have, and how that kind of impacted their business?
It's a great question. I would say that honestly, any agent that utilizes Transactly that wasn't previously utilizing a TC has seen the value in it. Say it's an agent that just does a couple of files a year to agents that do maybe 30 plus files a year. It's really, like you had mentioned, just that added benefit of being able to focus on growing their business and prospecting for new clients. Just off the top of my head, I want to say we started off with just an individual agent from Worth Clark Realty, and that's grown just through word of mouth of how good the service has been to their entire brokerage wanting to utilize our services. So honestly, it's kind of just have to try it out just to realize the benefit. And then once you've tried out a transaction coordinator the first time, it's kind of hard not to be sold on the added benefit that they do bring to your business.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you, Courtney. I do want to kind of speak a little bit more about what else you can do, especially if you're on the fence, I think, when you're thinking about, should I hire an assistant? Should I hire a transaction coordinator? Should I hire a showing agent, or should I mentor an agent? I think these are things that people think about when they've got sufficient business. They're getting busy, but they're not being productive. So some of the things that we come across is, what does that look like for compensation? So I know we talked about this one being about 5% off on terms of value, but I can say with confidence that you're not going to, if you're a transaction coordinator, should be around $500 or less is what you should be spending in terms of your cost. Typically, most transaction coordinators are paid at escrow, which I think is nice. You're not having that added cost during the course of the transaction, especially if you're just getting into the business. A lot of that stuff you can anticipate when it closes. The other thing too, it's nice to be able to kind of parse apart, start building your team. Do you have a stager? Do you have a cleaner? Do you have someone to help you if you go on vacation? Sometimes when we go on vacation, we go on trips, it's like somehow the universe knows that we're going on vacation, and they start filling our pipeline all of a sudden. So making sure that you're prepared for that eventuality. If there's a family member that can help you in terms of the preparation for a listing, or if there's another showing agent or a listing agent that can help you, it might be time to kind of think about that if you haven't already. There's plenty of business to be going around right now. Even with the interest rates being higher, there's a lot of sales that are still out there. We had one that was over the weekend where it was a divorce situation. He has a divorce decree. He has to sell his house within 12 months. There's going to be still situations like that. And knowing that you can pick up the phone, you have the time to pick up the phone and take that inquiry, I think is going to be important for you guys in the next 12 months as we start getting busy. They're not as easy. We had a nice ride the last 2 years, but now it's really honing into that business structure and making sure we've got all of our ducks in a row. Let's see. I think the other thing that some people talk about is how do you structure your day? So some people, they want to start their day with their showings, or they want to start their day with their prospecting. Think about how you're structuring your day, in addition to who you're leveraging as well. And we kind of talked about TCs already, but make sure that you've got a structure. Treat this business like a business. If you're spending an hour a day on some sort of prospecting or phone call activity, that will translate into more business and sales for you guys. Looks like we got a question from Vu. I will address these questions as they come in. So if you guys got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I will pose them to Courtney if you've got them. But Vu has a question that says, does transaction coordinator have access to showing assistance also? I think I can speak for Transactly in this regard, that most transaction coordinators and companies that are doing transaction services will not offer showing assistance, at least in Washington and Idaho, just because there are agency laws and duties that showing agents have to adhere to. So typically in those situations, if you're looking for a showing agent, that would be someone that you'd have to look at probably within the company first, and then see if you can, if you don't have someone there that's local. I know we've got some agents that are pretty far and remote in all sorts of aspects of the area, is start looking at other ways that we can get some help in that regard. So start first, ask us first. We have to know of people who are looking for those types of opportunities. And it looks like Gina had a question for Courtney. Does Tranzactly do Idaho transactions?
Yes, absolutely. We do Idaho transactions as well. I know that the question was specifically for does Beth. I will have to double check with our ops team to make sure that she does have just experience in Idaho, but if she does not, we will definitely get someone assigned to Best Choice that can assist with Idaho agents or brokers.
Yeah. I think what's kind of cool, Gina, for you is that Tranzactly is, they're across the nation. So Rochelle, I think, even knows the founder of the company. So in terms of where they come from, they're a Midwest company, and they've kind of branched out over to the West Coast in that way. So licensed in many states, lots of transaction coordinators across the country. And then the fee. So Ben, you had a question about the fee again. I believe currently Tranzactly, you'd be able to speak to that a little bit closer, Courtney, and what the current rate is. Yes. But I would say most transaction coordinators charge less than $500.
Yeah. So the exact fee is $332 a file per side. And then for listing coordination, it would just be $100.
Perfect. And for me, it's money well spent. I will pay the $450 or whatever it is. You know, it's money well spent. That's you know, if you think about your time, $100 an hour, you know, what could I have done with just even 4 more hours of my time of my day? So think of it that way. Time is money, especially in this industry. And it, you know, you can't put a dollar amount on opportunities, but you certainly can in this industry. One phone call with someone can translate into a certain dollar number for a listing or a sell side. So perfect. I think that's everything we had for tonight. I know we're ending a little bit early, but that's okay. Stay tuned. I think we've got some excellent trainings coming up in the next couple weeks. We have got a buy next Monday, just because we don't have a webinar next Monday because it's Halloween. So you guys go and enjoy, get out and spend some time with your family or your friends, and enjoy. And then we've got some good trainings coming up afterwards. I know we've got a call with Rochelle about dual agency and how you can handle those types of situations in Washington and Idaho, and making sure you've got your consultations buttoned up and buttoned down because they're starting to come up, where people are starting to interview agents. It's like we're going back to 2015, 2016. So
we have some questions, Shannon, that came to me. Sorry, I flipped the roll on you tonight.
That's okay. Go for it. I'm flexible.
Mobile. So somebody asked about mobile. Is the mobile app, you referenced that, Courtney, about accessing Tranzactly on a mobile kind of way. Are you referring to like the setup? Like, so when I have a file that I want to give to Tranzactly, do I just go onto a mobile app? Tell me more about how the setup would work for somebody that's never used Tranzactly before.
Yeah. So when I said mobile, we do not currently have an application for Tranzactly. I just meant you can access the website through your mobile phone, be it if you were on the road and not available to use your computer or laptop.
Got it. So it's just easier just to mobily take care of something and just message your TC, right? Just from your phone. Okay, that's clear. And then the other would be, if I've never used transaction coordination services ever, I guess there's not a minimum where I have to do a certain amount of transactions. Tranzactly would be happy because we have the relationship with you guys to just take over that part. At what point do I send you my stuff, right? And do you handle my compliance piece too? How do we go about getting started, I guess is the question.
Yeah, so the way that you would get started, I can actually share your brokerage onboarding link. That way, if you are interested in signing up, you'll just have to enter your name, your email, and your phone number, and then you'll be added into the brokerage account. Through there, the way that you would get assigned your TC is you would have to either input your first listing or your first file. Okay. And then after that point, you can go directly to your transaction coordinator as soon as you have a signed listing or a signed contract.
Perfect. Okay. And do you mind dropping that link here in the chat? I know we've got a couple of people that have asked for it. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
And then the other question that came up is what happens if I have a problem with my TC?
Yes.
It sounds like somebody else has at one point maybe had a bad experience with the TC, and that's what we like about Transactly is we've actually seen that we have licensed Best Choice Realty agents that are also working for Transactly, so we can control that. I can speak to that, which is very, very nice. I know Beth is licensed with Best Choice Realty in Washington. You'll have to check on the Idaho part for me on that, Courtney. But what's nice is that we have they've already been trained by, our contracts and vetted by me, interviewed, also licensed with our company. So if ever there was an issue or an audit or a complaint, it'd be nice because we know that they're in-house, right? They're as in-house as you can possibly get. But can you speak to the question about what happens if I don't like my TC? What
So
call that?
if you don't like your TC, I would be the person that you would reach out to. I would just want to get some more information about exactly what transpired. So that way I could provide that information over to our ops team, and we would get you reassigned to either another Best Choice Realty TC or a TC that is able to assist. At this time, we just have Beth that is assigned to the brokerage. So I would have to get with Nicole, who's in our TC ops, and make her aware of the situation so that we could get another TC assigned to the brokerage.
Okay. I have no doubt we have enough people that are using Transactly right now.
Yeah. Well, and I can speak to it too. I've been there, guys, where you're unhappy with your TC or just it didn't quite fit right or it didn't gel or jive. And in those situations, it's best just to reach out. For me, you call people that and I called Rochelle, because I work with her, and I said, hey, what do you think I should do in this situation? Who should I transfer to? What do you think I should recommend? So if you don't want to feel comfortable talking to Transactly, you're always welcome to come to us and we can see what we could recommend, at least from our perspective. Oftentimes we know the TCs that are working for these transaction coordination companies, so we can certainly push you in the right direction or get you in the right hands there. So hopefully that's helpful for you guys. Any other questions, you're welcome to call us. Courtney put the link there in the chat. So if you're interested in moving forward in that way, go for it. I think it's well worth the money. And then other than that, think about scaling your business. I think that's kind of leverage and scale. I think I've talked to a lot of people this week and what they can do. So really take that seriously, take it to heart. Because that's how we can get through the next 6 months in this industry. So thanks, you guys.
Yep, you're welcome. You won't find a price, I don't think, less. Even some of the Transactly people, if they're licensed with Best Choice, we negotiated that rate. So if you were paying more because you were with Transactly, congratulations. You just got, instead of having something inflate, we actually dealt with the inflation a little bit there with this economies of scale, which is awesome that Transactly and I have a great relationship. Fantastic. And then I think that was all the questions. Courtney, you're off the hook. Good job. Thank you for jumping on and giving us more info. Most of our top producers use Transactly. They gobbled up one of our smaller TC companies. And so it's been nice because we know Beth really well. She's been a great agent for us and works with, I think, our top five brokers in our company already. So if you get the opportunity working with Beth, make sure you give her a little shout out. She's a rock star. And I'm sure if there's somebody else that they give us, we will be very, very pleased. There's some great people over there. Thank you, Shannon, for hosting. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, you guys.
We do have a training we're doing on zoning that's coming up on Thursday. It's more in depth. So if you guys are wanting some training on zoning, I have a really good speaker for Thursday. It'll be on Zoom, so you don't have to even leave the comfort of your home. You can stay in your nice office with all the rain out there.
Keep your sweatpants on.
Yep.
Yep.